And let's take a look at materials once again. I think we uh, used them once on the first lab. If you remember, when we were creating our snowman, we colored the spheres, yeah, and also I think we colored the nose, if I remember correctly. And once again, we want to take a look at the materials a little more, and then we will take a look at the textures and how UVs work in Maya. Okay. Um, let's start with just a few, let's say, spheres here. And if you remember, we uh, made a new material by uh, selecting one object and then assign new material, and then we had a few options for selecting a material. And yeah, Lambert is kind of more like a matte, because it doesn't have so much, let's say, reflections, but funk is more used for shining objects. But and also Biblin is kind of similar to funk. They're just different with the options they have, and you can play with them in order to get different looking styles for your object. And yeah, again, right click on your object, go to assign new material, and let's just go with the funk right now. And if you remember from the first lab, here you have the option to choose the color, and let's just go with a kind of orange color, if that makes sense. And then when you select your object, you will see the material that is found. You can change the type here as well if you need to do so. And there are some options here. Let me just do something. So yeah, okay. And there are some options here that you can play with it in order to get different, let's say, attributes for your material and for your object. Uh, yeah, so you can change these features. You can, for example, expect it to reflect the light with some, let's say, particular color. Yeah, so these are some options that you can play with them in order to get the uh, required, let's say, properties for your object. And yeah, so let's say we want to have a kind of rather shiny orange sphere here, and then you want to have um, a kind of more uh, normal object, let's say a kind of not shiny sphere next to it. And yeah, you can go with creating like that, and you will see different, as I said, different options here uh, for different types of materials. For example, Lambert here. And transparency, as you know, is just, it means how much it is going to be transparent. For example, if you want to have a kind of glass around your house, or let's say in your car, you can create a material that is uh, transparent to some extent. And yeah, so this is just a very quick, uh, let's say, looking at the different materials, and I'm sure that you can play with them a lot more and see how it goes. Any question until this part? Okay. So let me just create a new scene, and Now we want to try to put a texture on our, let's say, on a box. For doing that, let me just send you a texture in the lecture lab feed channel. Textures are usually JPG or PNG files, and they are just regular, let's say, images that you use them to give some, let's say, color to your objects. So I've downloaded it from somewhere. I mean, when you are doing these things in your assignment, you should cite the, let's say, the materials you use. But now we want to just use this picture for some, let's say, learning manners. Okay, and now we want to have a box that has this texture on all of its sides or faces. So you can create a new material from here, or there is one another way that now we will see it. You can go to Windows and then rendering editors and hypershade. So again, Windows, rendering editors, and hypershade. And here you will see more, let's say, options for creating materials. And yeah, by clicking on Fong, you will get a new Fong material. And this is a kind of, let's say, node-based thing that you can play with it. And for example, when you here click on this checkered, let's say, square on the right of the color, you can select file, for example, and here you will see that it says there is a file that gives the color to our material. You could do this on your model as well. I will show you what I mean, but here is also another way, and it gives you more control. For example, you can, if you are not happy with using this texture for the color, for example, you can set it. Oh, right, it didn't work. Yeah, you can put it as ambient color for your object, or some other properties. For example, you can use it to specify. Oh, I don't know why it doesn't. Yeah, the transparency parts of your object. So yeah, as I said, it's just some node-based thing that you can play with it, and you can see all the materials here that you have in the hypershade menu. What else? I think that's all I wanted to show you here. And now, as you saw, we selected a file, let's say, for our material, and you can do it on your object here as well. Let me just show you again. Let me just minimize it. Okay, I think it works by right shift. Let me just find it. There was an option that was set its assign material to selection. Previously we selected this cube, and now I said assign the material to the selection. And if you go to the cube here, let me see, I don't know why it didn't work. Assign material, assign, and then this one, assign material to selection. Yeah, it's now found one. You can see it here. And again, you could select the file from here, and from here you can select the texture you had. Let me just go and select it here on my computer. Yeah, I have my texture, but now you cannot see it on the cube. For seeing the texture on your cube, go to this textured click this textured let's say button to see the texture on your cube. But you can see it's not placed correctly. Is there any question until this part? Do you need more time to get to here? Or yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure how you put the file
Mhm.
on the thing.
Yeah, so as I said, there are two ways for doing so. Let me just show it to you in another cube. Yeah, so let's say I want to put a new material on this cube. You could go to the hypershade menu, but I think that's real detail and you may don't use it for now. You can just simply go to, right click on your object and then go to assign new material. Let's just go with Fang. Now we have our Fang material, we can put color on it. And if you want to put a file on your, let's say for your texture, just click on this right, let's say, checkered square and select the file. Then you will get here that you can select the image. Let me do it here. Yeah, for example, the box here again. You will see that it just puts the texture on your object, and if you cannot see the texture, just click on this texture button here that shows you the textures. Yeah. Did that solve your problem, Robin, as well, or do you want me to do it again? Robin, do you want me to do it again, or it's fine? Or any other students, do you want me to do it again for you, or that's okay? Okay.
How do you go to that menu with the like connecting
Ah,
stuff?
yeah, in the Windows, and then rendering editors and hypershade. And over there, you will have, you will see all the materials you have. And as I said, you can play with this, with its properties. I haven't used the hypershade window too much as well, but I know that you can, yeah, work with your material and edit it more here if you need to do so.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome. Any other question? And for your object also, there, if you just select your object, it will show the materials available on your object. For example, now it says there is a Font2 material on it and there is a Font1 material here. And I think there is also one thing that I would like to show you as well. Here you could also have more than one material on your object, which is not, let's say, recommended, but I think that's good for you to know it. So for example, now I can say I want a Lambert model, material on my model here, and then, sorry, let's say I want to set a new material for these faces in the lower part of my, let's say, sphere. I can again select those faces and then right click and go to assign new material and assign a new, let's say, Lambert material again here, and then I can play with the color of these these faces, uh, yeah, separately, and then the other faces. Yeah, so you will have two or more materials on your object, and yeah, as you see, if you select this sphere here, you see that there are two materials on your object, Lambert 2 and Lambert 3, that you can edit and modify them separately. Any question? Okay, now let's see why we see our, let's say, texture on our cube like this. And for doing that, you can either go to here, the UV editor button, and see this window, or you can go to UV from here and then UV editor. They're exactly the same. Yeah, and you see that the box here, sorry, I don't know why I have a problem with my mouse. Let me just stop streaming for 1 second. Okay. Can you see my screen? Or I'm not sure if you can see my screen or not. It doesn't show me. That's okay. Can you see it now? I think.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for saying that. And then, I mean, by looking at this UV editor window and selecting your object, you can, for example, select this object or the other one. They are the same, so you don't see the, let's say, differences. But you will see, yeah, each object and each UV, let's say, settings on the texture. And then what you can do is to play with the faces. So let's say if I go to each face, I will see that face here and there, so they are connected together. So if you go, for example, over an edge, you will see which edge is the edge that you are looking through here. And that, I mean, if you just, for example, go here, you will see that both of these lines get red because the, let's say, the UV is kind of is cutted from here. And yeah, this is just one edge, which is here for this face and here for the other one, but that's only on one edge. So it's just based on the let's say the overall structure of our UV. And let's say we don't want to change the structure of our UV here. I want to make it look nicely with the texture. For doing that, we can go to the scale menu and then go to face and select all the faces. Now I can uniformly, that's important, you should uniformly scale your faces and then move them upward and do it again until that matches the width of a full, let's say, a square, a full big square here. I think that's quite good for now at least. Let's see what happens. You will see a lot, yeah, a lot more details and a very nice, let's say, textured box here. Okay, so what do you mean by doing that again, doing the resizing again? I will do it here. So again, now you can see the other box is not, yeah, okay, yeah, it's not, let's say, edited here. Again, I will select all the faces here. Now you see I have them. Don't scale them along the X or Y axis. Scale them uniformly. And try to scale it until these two lines kind of align with the bold black lines for your UV, and then move the, and that's not important, you can, for example, put it here, but that's better to move it, yeah, you're welcome, to the, let's say, first square, and then you will see this nice textured box here. So there are a few things to, let's say, describe here. First of all these squares are filled with your texture, so you can easily move all of them to wherever you want. So you can also put them here. That's not important. It just repeats itself all over this screen. So that's okay. That's one thing. And you could also detach a, let's say, a face, and where was that? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you should use the cut tool. Yeah, and then you can move this face freely to wherever you want. So you could, for example, decide to move all these faces to here and kind of detach. Oh, I think I didn't do the cut properly. Okay, and then move them all to the same center point. That's also my mistake. You should cut all of these as well. Yeah, I didn't do it correctly, I think. I don't know why. Okay, so maybe, yeah, sometimes you should use the edges to cut the faces from each other. I think now it works, yeah. And then I'm using X to move each square exactly to the center point here. Let me just choose that, and then again do the cut thing, and select the face here and move it. I think this face is, yeah, separated by itself because there is no face connected to it. Yeah, so for example, we could also cut these faces and move them freely and do weird stuff with them. For example, yeah, you could do something like this if you want to have the, let's say, the border in the middle of your bottom square or bottom face. That's one thing. And sometimes you may need to, for example, have a very long brick wall, for example, and for doing that you have to find a seamless texture. And let me show you what that does that mean. So if you say seamless, let's say brick wall texture, you will get some images that if you put it just, I mean, twice next to each other or above each other, it will create a nice and believable, let's say, output image. I'm not going to show it here. If we have time, I will do it in the future. But what I mean is that, for example, consider it's the wall that you want to make. You could, no, sorry, here. Yeah, you could expand the UV without any problem. For example, you wanted to have that much, yeah. And then if that was the wall, you would see the bricks correctly placed all over your wall. Yeah, I think it's maybe better to show it to you. I think that's a good thing to know. And also, I think you can create seamless pictures yourself. That's not going to be really hard, but let me show it to you for now. You don't need to do it. Let me just quickly show it to you how it works, and then you can do it in future if you want for your other works. And then let me just download that picture. I think this one is good. Save images, and then brick wall, and then assign new material, funk, or I think Beblin is better because funk is not really for a, sorry, Lambert is better because you don't want to have it really shiny. And then let me bring that image here, brick wall. Okay. I'm not going to bother so much about the other, let's say, faces, but only for this face. If you again go to the UV editor, yeah, you will. Let me just cut it first. That's a little hard to see because the colors are near to each other, but that's fine, I think. Yeah, this face is now separated, and now what I can do is to scale it. There are better ways as well. If we have time, I will show them to you. And if I forget, please mention it here. And then I can scale it along the X direction. And let's see what happens. Now I have a nice brick wall here that seems to have just, yeah, a very big texture, but it's not the case. We have, for example, repeated the texture for, let's say, 7 or 6 times to have this nice brick wall here. Yeah, any question? Any problem? Do you want me to do anything again for you? And brick wall is kind of easier, but sometimes you will have more complicated objects, such as, let's say, a road that you want to put a an asphalt texture on it. Having seamless textures or creating them would be a really good thing to have. And if you have just a very simple texture, one very simple way for creating a seamless texture is to just use the PowerPoint or any other, let's say, better even image editing software, and just mirror your picture and duplicate it next to itself, and then you will have same borders in each let's say in the right side or in the uh, upper side. So you can, let's say, yeah, make your image 2 times bigger along the X and Y axis and make it a seamless texture. I'm not going to show it here because honestly I'm not a good let's say person in working with images or painting things, but I'm sure that if you just think a little, you can find a good way for creating seamless textures. Any question, any problem? Okay. Now let's just take a deeper look to the let's say UV creating and editing it. But before showing you the let's say the next step, just wanted to mention that this week you don't have any assignment to kind of spend more time on your more important assignments, and yeah, just look at this lab as a step for going forward in the rendering, which is the next lab. And there is also one another thing that I should send it to you. Let me just find it here. I have downloaded this file, which I will just put it in the lecture lab feed from free3d.com, a website that is good for downloading uh, free objects. I think maybe it was the CG Trader. Actually, I'm not sure for now, but yeah, those are the two sites that you can use, two websites that you can use for uh, downloading models if you want. And again, don't forget to cite everything that you download or use from the others, and you don't create them. And I'm going to use the X button on my keyboard to first select the, let's say, the group which has the two eyes and the face here, and then just put it yeah, I tried to put it exactly in the center. I think I was successful with that, and then move it a little upward to put it above the grid. Now we have our nice head here, and I will wait for you to import it into your Maya projects. And importing it is again very simple. Just drag your model to the folder you have. Sorry, to the window here. Yeah, simple drag it here. Then you will see your model in the Maya. And by the way, the two most common formats for the objects is FBX and OBJ. FBX is more complicated and gives you more controls. For example, you can rig the models, which I think we will see it in the next labs, and then save it with a FBX format, and that's a format that is used in lots of softwares and game engines. Yeah, do you need more time to import it, or you have all imported the model? Is there anyone who needs more time? Okay, now it's going to be a little
Yeah, I imported the model, but
Mhm.
like it didn't show up on my screen.
I think it should be a little sorry, upper than the origin, something like here. And also you can find it in the outliner.
Oh, I found it. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just move it a little down so that you can see it easier. Any other question? Or anyone, or is there anyone who needs more time? Okay, now let's try to see if we can create a good UV for this model, and then kind of investigate the things we have to do for having a good texture here. So again, by where was it? Going to this UV editor window, you will have this UV toolkit and this UV editor. And here you can see that it has created a kind of UV here for me and for us, but it's not a very good one. And there are some, different options here for create a UV. So first of all, automatic is usually used for all the objects, but for the organic ones, which is this one, for example, we don't use the automatic, let's say, UV, and we want to have it in just one shape. So for example, if we wanted to, yeah, I don't have very complicated object here, but I'm just thinking of, yeah, for example, just a very simple cube, and you take a look at its UV here. Where is that? Okay, it doesn't show at all. Let me see. Yeah, it has created a kind of UV thing for me, and if you had a more complex object, you would see that better. But you could kind of select your object and then use an automatic, let's say, UV creating, and it would create these things that you can, for example, put it in. It should be grouped. I'm not sure why it is not, but if that's not grouped, just select all of them and then use Control G to make them all come in one group. And if it is not centered, just go to modify and then center pivot down to put the pivot in the center of your objects. Yeah, so again, going back to the UV toolkit, yeah, here you would see these let's say automatically created UVs that you could use it for, and we'll see how to, in the paint or in, let's say, Photoshop, GIMP, or whatever software you have, to put some colors and then bring back a PNG or JPG file to put a texture over it. Or for example, you can use a cylindrical, which is good, but is not the best option, because these two faces, these and the upper and top, the lower one, are just created like this, so you cannot put a texture for it. And there's also another thing that to mention, and we wanted the, let's say, the UVs to always kind of keep the aspects or the scale of our object, because we want to have nice and detailed and uniformly detailed, texture over all of our models. So if, let's say, this face, let's say if I cut this face here, yeah, so for example, if you make this face a lot bigger than the other ones, then when you create a texture, this face would be a lot detailed than the other ones, which is not a very good practice for let's say, texturing objects. And you may also have big difficulties in putting details and keeping the actual, let's say, ratio and the scale between them. Or for example, you could go with the spherical, which is not really different, or camera base, which gives you this nice, let's say, rendered UV, or planar. For example, planar is good when you want to have, let's say, only one where is that? Yeah, if you want to, let's say, flatten your object in one direction. So for example, this face is not let's say UV correctly, but what you can do, let me just go back to where I was. Yeah, you can select the faces one by one and then go to UV. For example, these two faces are the same. UV and then planar, and we should do some cheating here. It's along the Z direction. So we say we want it to project along the Z direction. You see that these two are projected correctly. Now I want my two other, let's say, faces which are along the X direction to go and project it along the X axis. And I think there is also an automatic option here. I haven't checked it, sorry, but I think that's the same. Let's just see what happens. The planner and then best plane. Yeah, it works. Okay, yeah, so then what we had and we tried is a lot easier here. You can have each face separately in your, let's say, in the actual square you had here. This is the actual one, and again the textures are repeated in all the other squares in this UV editor. Yeah, I think that's it for creating and different options of UV creating. Any question? And is the grouping solved? I mean, are they grouped now? Is there any problem there? Okay, so we are not going to see how the texture is going to be painted here because I don't know how to do it, to be honest. And also this is just my tutorial, but I'm sure that you all have lots of more talents and you have more capabilities to draw things if you want. But I will show you what's the overall principle for drawing things on your object. And again, let's just go back to creating UVs. And in the UV toolkit, when you select your face here, just go with automatic there. The automatic, I mean, UV creating thing. And where is the other window? I think I've just closed it. Okay, sorry, UV. Yeah, you will see these kind of separated faces here. And as I said, I want to have a kind of say connected set of faces. Let me show you something. The face texture is something like this, and we want to have a UV similar to these things, and then you may use some softwares to draw, or for example use your own picture, or kind of manipulate it a little bit to put correct, let's say, textures on your face. And for doing that, you have to, as I said, attach these faces together. And you can use sew or stitch together, but this one is better for, I mean, most of the times I use this one for now. You will see a kind of messy, let's say, UV here now, and it is because, for example, this edge here, if that helps. Okay, this edge here is the same as this one. I think it should be, yeah, at least it's in two places. And when you use this sew thing, it will just connect all these edges together, and you will see this big mess in between all these faces. And then you use this unfold option here. Now you will see a, let's say, a better UV. At least it's just connected with together, and it's let's say organized here. Any question until now? Do you want me to do anything again? Sure. Let's just go back all the, to where we were. I think it's a good place now. Okay. Let's say previously it was something like this. Now just go to the automatic one to create the automatic UV mapping. And then after having these, let's say, kind of separated faces, use the CU thing to connect them together. Then use this unfold option to have a rather nice connected set of faces for your UV. Any question? Any problem? So you know the UV is kind of a 2D representation of a 3D object. So with using and getting help from the UVs, we kind of put and draw 2D images over 3D objects. And there are, you can assume that the object is kind of flattened on the screen, and you have many options to do that. And after doing that, you are going to put colors, or by drawing, or images on your object to make it look a lot more realistic. Any question, any problem? Okay. And we can get a little help from here, from this menu, arrange and layout and orient shells. It will make it a little bit more horizontal for you. And then what I'm going to do is to scale it down uniformly. And again, we do this because keeping the scale of the faces is important. So we don't want to have long or tall faces. We want to have the overall scale in a correct manner. And yeah, so that's it for now. But it's still different from what we had here in these faces. And for doing that, let's just first make sure that the rotation is correct. It's not really important, but just trying to. Okay. And one more advice: you may, for example, want to use more space in order to have more detailed image. You could, for example, scale your, rotate it a little diagonally, and then scale it to have a bigger face. So with that, you will have more space to draw things on your character. Okay. So that's one thing. Is there any other thing that I want to mention here? Yeah, that's it for this part. And now we want to try to see if we can cut the UV from a certain point and try to get something similar as what you see in the internet when you search for the faces texture. So for doing that, select the last let's say edge in the, let's say, middle line of your face. Is that the one? Okay, I did a mistake here. Okay, now I think I've selected correct face. Yeah. And then going back to this UV, you can cut your UV from here by using this cut menu, cut option here. And then select all the faces again and do the unfold. Let's see what happens. Now you will see a better, let's say, face that you can even try to use it for putting those textures on your face if you need it. And again, I'm not I mean, professional at all in using the image editors, but we will take a look at that and see how it works. Any question? Any problem? Any question? Okay, so we have kind of worked with the face, but if you pay attention to this two other models, they are the eyes of our character, which is not really good. In most of the times, you don't want to have lots of let's say objects when you, I mean, on your, let's say, face or on your model. But since we have just found it in the internet, let's just go with it and try to set these eyes, let's say, UVs as well. So I would say assign existing material and then Lambert, or yeah, we haven't created any material yet. Okay, so we can just go ahead with the UV, and then at the end we will put the materials. Okay, and yeah, you will see that it has created this material for us. But I want to have my both of my eyes and the face in just one, let's say, file, and then after extracting it, I can use softwares like GIMP here to for example crop a piece of face or whatever I need to yeah, put the textures on my model. For doing that, let's just, I think it's better to assign, sorry, to first create a new material for the whole face, and let's just go with Lambert. Okay, now we have our Lambert material here, and then again go with assigning new material, sorry, assign existing material, and then Lambert 2, which is exactly the same as the face. And now if we select all of these and go to the UV editor, you will see the face and the two eyes kind of over each other. But for example, I want to put the left eye here and right eye there, and then I want to try to paint things in the, let's say, GIMP. Okay, now let's go and again use the, I think it was automatic. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, and then select these, both of them, and then go with Sue to connect the faces, and then I think it's better to do it one by one. Okay, let me see if I have, yeah. Okay, I don't know, again Sue and then unfold. So yeah, I think it wasn't a automatic one, it was a spherical, yeah, sorry, it was a spherical one, and then unfold. Yeah, so go, let me just show it again. Go, let's just go back to where with our UVs. Hopefully that works. Okay, now going back, we had these two UVs. Again, go to not the automatic one, to the spherical one, and that was my mistake. Choose each one separately because it would try to fit a sphere to both of the eyes, which is not what you want. Okay, and then use the unfold for the left eye and unfold here as well. Now we have two nice let's say eyes. Let's just scale down them. Exactly. Um, I don't know why it doesn't let me. Okay. Yeah, I think it's better for me to just hide the face for now. Now I can do things better. Okay. Select all. I think it should let me select both of them and then scale them. That let's okay. I think now it's working. Yeah, okay. So again, first let's just select all the faces in the right eye and then go with all the faces in the left eye and try to scale them down and try to imagine. I think the face was kind of here, so we want them to be roughly this size, and select one of them, put the first one in the left part. Maybe we could make them a little bigger first. Okay, and then again select the first one, sorry, here, move it to the left. Select the other one and move it to the right. And let's just bring back our face with the edge button and select all of them. Okay, so that's kind of bad because they're over each other, but what you can do is to hide the eyes, let's say. Okay, and then by selecting all the faces we can move it down a bit. Yeah, now I think if you select all of them, okay, I made a mistake here. If you select all of them, you will see the face and the eyes placed correctly. And since they are completely different, I'm going to paint the eyes differently. And for example, I wanted to have more details in my eye. That's okay to not keep the let's say overall scale, but for the face, which contains the, let's say, the ear, the mouth, the eyes, nose, and whatever, is important to try to keep the scale as much as you can. Okay, any question? And try to make sure that you make it as make it small so that it just doesn't go out of your main square. Any question, any problem? Okay, and one more thing that is going to help us, this center point is here. So let's say if you want to draw the eye here, that's not going to be a real problem for us, and we can do it. And this one is also here. So this is the center, and that's exactly what we want. We want to, for example, draw the eye here. Any question, or do you want me to do anything again? For the eyes, we went to the spherical option and then automatic, yeah, sorry, the spherical, and then we did the unfolding, from what I remember, to have these rather nice UVs for the eye. Okay, and let's say you want to have these lines and these edges to have some idea on how to draw things there. So what I'm going to do is to use this take snapshot button, UV snapshot, and here you will have the option to export the UV picture, and there are some options there. First of all, go with the PNG. PNG is important. Don't go with the JPEG because JPEG is not transparent, and you want to have this transparency in order to look through your model, so that's important. And yeah, the transparency is important, and also most of the time these numbers are power of 2. So 2048 is 2 to the power of 11, and you can go with more numbers, but you need to have a powerful computer in order to be able to easily manipulate the pictures and draw things on them. But I think 2048 by 2048 is pretty okay, and that could be also even more than what you need, and you may need to, for example, go with 512, which is 2 to the power of 9. Yeah, and then you can use the browse button here to select where you want to save your UV. Okay, Yeah, and then don't forget to select all the 3 models and then use this apply button to get your picture. Let me just bring it here so that you see what would be the final thing. Where is that? Okay, it's here. Yeah, now you see that I have these nice UVs and the face and 2 eyes here. And previously I think Photoshop was free, and although I am not again professional in none of these softwares, I know that the Photoshop is really powerful with sorry, doing these things. But Krita and GIMP are it doesn't show the dictation, but GIMP and Krita I will show it here. See here. And GIMP. Where is that? Let's see. I think it's this one. Yeah, are the 2 good options I have. You may find better ones. And yeah, let me just make a new one and go with 2048 and click on OK. And you know, it's I mean, it's up to you. And again, doing these things is not in the lab, but let me just quickly show you what I mean here. I hope that works. I just dragged our UV here. Okay, it's not the UV though. I'm not sure what's happening here because I tried to make a new one, but let me just close it down. Again, I haven't used this, but let's just first go with this one. As I said, there are 2 options. Create. Now I have my let's say white background. You can make the layers visible and invisible, and then bring this layer, insert as new layer. Now I have this layer here, and I can look through it or close it. And then, as I said, I'm not good at these things at all, but what you can do, sorry, not this one, but here, is to draw a white thing here that is going to be used for the eye. Okay, and then where is this one? Make your it's good. Yeah, make your brush smaller and then choose where is the color. Sorry, let me just find where is the color. Yeah, it's here. I don't know why it not okay, see that. And just put very simple black circles there. I think maybe it should be a little bigger. That's, I mean, as I said, I'm not good at these things at all. And you can also, for example, choose a color for the skin, and maybe it's better to make the brush a little bigger. Just draw here. Okay, and now if you have the skill that I don't have it at all, you can, I think these parts you can go back to the Maya and see. This is the overall, I mean, it had a mouse there. Let me show you the mouse. You could, for example, delete it from now, but there is a mouse thing here that you will see it there in the UV thing. I think this part is all the mouse part. So for example, we can go with making them red, hopefully. And I think we can also color the in-between part here. Let me go back to the, where was it here? Okay, and then what I'm going to do is to use this Yeah, this fill tool. Fill the in between parts with the red color. So yeah, as I said, I'm not really good at these things, but let's just see what happens when we import it into Maya. So what I have to do is to save it without this EUV thing. I just want to have this very simple painting. Actually, it's more like the paintings that the 6-year-old kids do, but I don't have any, let's say, skill in these things. Yeah, pictures. Let me just save it on my computer. PNG is the best format. Okay, and I hope that works correctly. Let's see if it saves it. Yeah, it saves it correctly, and let's see what happens in the Maya when we put the picture on our material. Okay, it's not this one. Sorry, where was the? Yeah, sometimes the menu is, and there are too much things in the menu. So if you cannot find your material, again, you can go to the hypershade menu. I have found it here, but I'm saying if you have difficulties with finding your material, yeah, you can go to this rendering editors, hypershade here, for example, and then choose this Lambert 2 thing, go to the file, browse for it, and then bring this very simple picture, face texture one, okay, and let's see what happens. Okay, that's great. Okay, yeah, there is a problem with the transparency. We should solve it, but uh, overall it seems okay. I don't know what's the problem with the transparency here. Yeah, it should not go with the transparency with the file. Hopefully the going with the Veblen would not solve the problem. Great. Lambert and Funk. So there is a problem with the image we have created. I don't know what's the problem. Or for example, if let's say I'm facing this problem, what I could do as a very simple solution is to go and save it as a, where is this JPEG? Yeah, the JPEG file, because it just removes those transparencies for me. Actually, I'm not sure what's the problem here. That should not happen, but let's just go with it. Okay, so there is still the problem here, and I'm not sure why. But you kind of get the idea on how it works. But let me just try to, I tried it and it didn't have this problem before. But let's see if I can solve it. So is there any transparency option here? No. But what happens if yeah, if you have any idea or if you have experience with it, that would also be helpful if you could help me with that. I'm just trying to see what I can do here. That should have not happened. Let's just take a look at the hypershade menu here. It's not that one. Okay, it's this one. Okay, I think the problem was that I just added it to the transparency before to see what happens. I think now it should be okay. Hopefully, yeah, okay. So that was the problem. So now I think going back to the, I said because I checked it before. Okay, so the PNG is not still okay, but the JPEG file is not okay as well. But well, how did it work? Maybe going back again to the hypershade would solve our problem here. Yeah, I don't know why it is here again. Just delete it, please. Okay, now it's okay, and hopefully again it would work with the PNG file. Okay, I don't know what happens when I put the JPEG file here again. Oh, it's not there. But that should be okay. Let me just put the PNG. Okay, it's not a PNG, and then going to the hypershade, which is here. I don't know why it always tries to put this again back, but that's okay. Now you will see a very simple looking face here, and you will see this kind of naive red mouse. So the problem, I was just playing with this hypershade. I don't know why it's not understanding that it should not connect the alpha thing to the transparency, but you saw that when I deleted it, it just works. And there's also another one tool that you can use if you need in the Maya here, and going to the rendering mode here, from here, rendering, going to the texturing and using the 3D paint tool, you will have this nice let's say brush to draw things. But let's just go to the tool settings and see what's there. Some surfaces have no texture file assigned. So texture file assigned. I don't know why it doesn't understand things. Okay, so I don't know really why it doesn't understand things. I think what it says is that it is not connected to the alpha part, but it should work. So let's just leave this part. I will show it here in the box, but I hope I can solve it in the other one as well. Is it's just again assign new material, funk, and then sorry, go with these two. Go to EU editor. These two are okay. Yeah, I think we had it correctly, and I should just assign new material here. I don't know, maybe there was a problem with the image I created. Maybe transparencies are not set correctly. That's completely possible, that when we use that file it doesn't work. Yeah, but I have some other things to show you, and I will show you that part again for you as well. Okay, I forgot to set this material for all of them. It was 18 funk 3, and going to the funk 3 here, choosing the sorry, let me just bring it here. Now we have our box created here, and yeah, then and now let's see if this paint tool works at the end. It seems that it is working, and for that we should use a kind of obvious color, and let me just first select this one. Then again, I don't know why it's not helping me at all. These things happen. Okay, that's too big. Okay, now it's smaller. And now you can see that we can throw things here on our object. So that's also another way for doing things here, but it's not too much helpful. You may find it really problematic, but yeah. And it happens for all the faces, because if you remember, you just put them all over each other. So when you throw the thing here, it just goes for all of them. I mean, because that cube there, if you just take a look at this UV thing here, where is it here? Yeah, you will see that it will throw things completely here, and as you see, it's just really buggy as well. It just sometimes doesn't work very well. Okay, so that's one way, and let me just show it here that what you could do, but going with another let's say image. I think there was a problem with the way I saved the IAT. Yeah, I think I can just try once more again to see if that works, and if it doesn't, we will go with the very simple texture that I created previously. Windows, then rendering editors, hypershade, going to the font 2. Okay. Yeah, the alt color is there. Where is the file? It is okay. Why are these too much? Okay, I don't know why it is connected with this one. It's not okay. So you can see that the transparency is here, but I don't know why it thinks that it can do the transparency thing. We don't need it to be transparent at all, but it is doing it. And if you remove the transparency, I think it won't work with the texturing part. Okay, so it always has this problem, which is really weird because previously I didn't have this problem. Let's just assign new material to it. Maybe there is a problem with it. Maybe we can go with a newer one. Hopefully that works. Where is it? Okay, so it's still the same. Looking at the material here. That's not at all. Okay. Actually, I'm not sure why it is not helping me at all. I remember that it was working correctly, but now it's not. And it's kind of making things transparent for some reason, and it doesn't give me the option to yeah, do the thing. Okay, that's perfect. Coverage, it's going to be the file again. So yeah, I'm not sure, and that's the problem with it. But again, at least for now, you can go back to the thing that we did previously and make it not connected to the transparent part. Yeah, let me just go with the very simple thing I had. Okay, it's still the same. I'm pretty much sure that it was working previously correctly. Sorry for that, I'm not sure why it has this problem, but I think you got the idea. You could throw things here on your object, and then number 3, yeah. And with that, we could draw the, for example, mouse as kind of green. But yeah, it's really bad that it doesn't let me do things at all. The Lambert is here, and you can see that this one is surface material is connected to the transparency, which makes this transparency really odd. And yeah, do you have any idea on what we can do here? Because again, I'm not really expert with these, but yeah, I wanted to make it, check it again. Reload, use image sequence. Okay, that's perfect, that it doesn't help me at all. So let me just go back to the other one and try it once more again. If that doesn't work, we will end the lab and I will show it again in the next lab to you. So Windows again, rendering, hypershade, and going to this transparency, just delete it, and let's see what happens. It's working now, and again going to this rendering team, text train, 3D paint tool. Okay, I don't know why it's working now, but I'm really happy that it works. The things sometimes happen and I don't know why Maya gets really weird at sometimes, but yeah, for example, let's say if you want to draw the mouse here, which is a little hard, but yeah, if you can manage it, you can bring things here and then try drawing things here. That's really hard. Making a good thing here is actually, I don't know what's a good way for doing that, but I'm just saying this is the option available here. So you could go, I think I'm making it really red, but that's fine. Yeah, you can go to draw things here and you will see what is happening there in the UV. And there are also better softwares for drawing textures on models, but here, since we are just using Maya, we'll stick with it. And yeah, for example, something like this would work. And for example, hair is a really hard thing to do for, let's say, eyebrows and the head's hair, and I am not going to do that for now. But yeah, we can see a very simple thing here that we try to create. So if you again remember, we just put the skin texture here. Maybe if you're expert, you can put some chins here, for example, and put some lines here on the forehead of your character or your face. And what else? Yep, let's just take a look at the UV editor here. Where is it? Here. You will see that it has got red here as well. And what you can do is to again export it to get the let's say new image and work with it. But you need to, I think, remove the lines there. Let me see if I can manage to do that. I forgot to take a look at how to do it for this part, but I will try to see if I can manage it here. Going to the Lambert. Okay, so it's not working. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. Let me just, I will search it for now. But yeah, you can, for example, after drawing things here, you can save it again, save this newly uh, created lip here to use it for making it more completed. And let's see if there is any question here while I'm searching for the solution. Any question, any problem? Okay, let's see if I can. Yeah, it's going to be exactly the same, but the only thing we need to do is to um, remove those lines there, because let's say if you want to create the image again, you don't want to see these wireframe things there. And yeah, it's not helping at all. Okay, I will search for it and will tell you in the next part. But yeah, it's overally what we see here, and we only needed to remove the lines there if at all possible, but it seems that it's not possible. So that's really weird and that's kind of bad, but yeah, I will try to find the solution for the next lab to find a way to save the textures. And also I will maybe make a very small video that shows you how to save this image again to edit it. Yeah, any question, any problem? So I don't know what was the problem with the previous material, but what I did was to create a newer one and then put the textures. As I said, sometimes Maya just gets really weird and doesn't help you at all. But yeah. Any question, any problem?